Welcome, my name is Stavros Mastrogiannis, and today I want to talk to you about the coronavirus. Actually, I won't be talking about the coronavirus, I'll be talking about the response of the mainstream media about the virus. Okay, the one thing I noticed is the media has focused mainly on what you can do to avoid coming into contact with the virus, which I can disagree with it. If you can avoid it, that's great. And they tell you things like wash your hands, avoid big groups. Again, I can disagree with that advice. But the one thing I haven't seen them talk about is what can you do to strengthen your immune system? Because the bottom line is, if you have a very strong immune system, that's the best protection that you can, the best thing you can do to protect yourself is you build a strong immune system and you have to worry about coming into contact with the virus as much. Obviously, again, if you can avoid it, do avoid it by all means. So what I want to talk about today is what can you do, some simple things that you can do immediately that will strengthen your immune system. And the first thing is eat less often. That's something I've talked about because this is part of my regular fitness program. But that's the first thing that you can do. Because remember, every time you eat and the body has to digest food, that weakens your immune system temporarily, of course. Because remember, digestion takes a lot of energy. Well, the immune system to work properly also requires a lot of energy. So when you're eating nonstop, which unfortunately a lot of people do, we walk around with a weaker immune system. I mean, I personally only eat once in a day. Most of the time, I do eat twice sometimes. And I haven't gotten sick for years. I think it's been 7 years now. I've lost count. And yeah, I might get the sniffles sometimes, the beginning of a cold. But as soon as I feel anything, I stop eating. And I never go beyond that. Think about it. Look at animals. What do they do when they're not feeling well, when they're sick? They stop eating, they lose their appetite. When you're sick, don't you lose your appetite? Or even if you do eat, the food doesn't taste as good? Because the body's telling you something. So the first thing I would do is eat less often. Now, by the way, besides improving your immune system, there's other great benefits of eating less often, which I've talked about in other videos. And one of the benefits, by the way, is make your body more efficient at burning fat and also makes your body more sensitive to insulin. So the next thing you could do is don't overeat. When you overeat and you stuff yourself again, because there's so much food the body has to digest, your immune system again gets suppressed. So try to avoid overeating to make sure your immune system stays nice and strong. The other thing you could do, I'm sure you've heard this one, is eat more fruits and vegetables. I think that's really good for your health. Also, it's going to boost your immune system, especially vitamin C. Eat a lot of fruits that have vitamin C. And try to avoid heavy foods. The other thing, I'm sure you've heard this one too, is sleep. Try to get good night of sleep. Try not to stress. I know it's easier said than done, but try to relax. Now, the one trick I use to help me sleep at night, no matter what happened during the day, is I focus on my goals in life. And when I would say I'm focusing on them, I focus on like I already have achieved them, and that really helps me go to sleep. Because remember, your mind will always wander. Is point at something that's nice instead of focusing on what went wrong with the day, or what you need to do tomorrow. Just focus on something pleasant. It will help you fall asleep much better. Now, the other one is meditation. And again, I know a lot of people think they can't meditate. The fact is, everybody can meditate. Okay, it's a matter of learning how to do it. And the way I learned how to do it, and actually it wasn't my idea, by the way. I can remember somebody advised me to do this, and it worked wonderfully well. And what I did was I set my timer for 1 minute. And for 1 minute, I would close my eyes and I would focus on my breath. Now, my mind did wander. But as soon as it wandered and I realized it, I just pulled it back onto my breath. I didn't criticize myself. I didn't say what's wrong with me. As soon as I realized my mind wanders, I pull it back to my breath. Now, until I could do a full minute without my mind wanders, I stayed with 1 minute. Once I could do it, I increased it to 2 minutes and did the same thing. Now I have almost not a hard time at all staying focused. Now, obviously, once in a while I have a harder time than others, but most of the time I have no problem staying focused with this simple technique. And again, I'm sure everybody can find 1 minute to meditate to actually help you calm your mind. Now, the one guy that I got to give a lot of credit to is Wim Hof. Okay, I started practicing his method a few years back, and although I was pretty healthy already, and already I wasn't getting sick, although I was getting the sniffles, once I started his method, I wasn't even getting the sniffles anymore. And it's something I wish that the media should be covering this, because this guy hasn't gotten sick, I think, for over 20 years. They've given him shots of, I can't remember the name of the bacteria, that will make anybody sick, and it had no effect on him. And of course, the doctors said, well, maybe it's a freak of nature. So he asked for 12 volunteers to take the same shot as he did. But of course, he trained them for 4 days. So he trained these 12 volunteers for 4 days with his method, and all 12 volunteers also did not get sick when they took the shot of this bacteria. So that's somebody I think you should look into, Wim Hof method. And just so you know, I'm not getting money from him or anything. It's somebody that is my pleasure to recommend, because his method truly, truly works when it comes to immune system, and overall health too. So check him out. Now, the other thing you could do is stop stressing and then stop worrying, because when you worry, you weaken your immune system. Fear weakens the immune system. And I think, unfortunately, the mainstream media, they're doing a horrible job as far as helping people stay calm. I think it's a terrible thing what they're doing. So I would strongly recommend, actually, don't watch the news as much, especially when you first wake up in the morning or when you go to sleep at night. Okay? Because the news, unfortunately, is mostly bad. And by the way, there's a lot of good things are happening. Do you know, like in China, things are returning back to normal? Do you know how many people actually have recovered from the coronavirus? I know they only talk about the people who died, which again is a terrible thing. But the fact is, people are getting better. So try to focus on the good things, and again, try to take care of your health. Now, the last thing I want to make a point here is that the healthier you are, the less likely it is that you're going to get sick from anything. So I would strongly urge you to try to start a simple exercise program. Okay. Again, I think the mistake the fitness industry makes is trying to change everything at once, because there's a lot of good things that you can do to improve your health and lose weight if you're looking to lose weight. But you should never try to do all those things all in one shot. Try to focus on one thing at a time. Right now, I started the walking challenge, which people have up to the March 23rd to join. And this is a 5-minute walking challenge, and it's going to last for 60 days. So basically, the challenge is for the next 60 days, all I'm asking you to do is walk for 5 minutes every day. That's it. You can walk longer if you like, but only 5 minutes. And I know the criticism I get is like, oh, what would 5 minutes do? Well, it's not going to do much, but what it will do is you cannot come up with an excuse why you cannot do it. Everybody has 5 minutes to walk. And trust me when I tell you, if you do that for 60 days in a row, walking by the end of the 60 days will be second nature to you. And by the way, you can be walking a lot longer than the 5 minutes. Thank you for watching. I hope this is helpful. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section of this video. Thank you.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting